G'day guys, welcome. So this is a twofold video. It's the #DTHaulersChallenge and how to make sourdough in a hot, humid climate. In a hot, humid climate. Already the words are going out of my head. So the first thing I did was obviously go down to the reject shop to see, because we don't have Dollar Tree, so reject shop is Australia's Dollar Tree. So went down there and had a look around, see what I could find, and yeah, found salt, flour, some canisters. I'll show you, I'll turn you around. Alright, okay, so you need salt. This was $2.50 Aussie. I'll put the conversions up. So yeah, salt. I got two of these. These are $6 each, and that way I can make like an improvised Dutch oven with those. This is the brown unbleached chlorine-free non-stick baking paper, and this is a good bargain. This is 40 meters by 30 centimeters, and it was only like $3. So that, and then I got this for $2, which I thought I'll make a starter in or put salt in. And then these containers here, these were $2.50, and I'm just trying to open them. For the last 10 days I've been making a sourdough starter, which basically is flour and water. Well, that's flour and water, and in my mind you're waiting for it to go off. So there's stackable containers. I'm still not used to this overhead, and they're just plastic. So sourdough starter is going to go in one of these. Alrighty. The last thing I got, well, I got this container before from there, and I think it was $3.50. But the flour in it is all purpose, and I stuck the flour in the freezer for a few days, and then I poured it into here. So I can't remember what brand, but it's just an all-purpose plain flour. Okay, so I'm starting off with, well, it should be 270 grams of cold water. Everything in this recipe is going to be cold, so, but it's coming up to 71. So first ingredient, 270 or 271 of water, cold water. Okay, so this is the starter, and just having a whiff. Last night I chucked some flour in there, and well, basically make it as thick as you can, and then put it back in the fridge. Now I've taken it out of the fridge. It hasn't fully like risen, but you know, tough. It's just going in like this because this will continue to feed on the flour that's going into alright, so with this one I need 135 grams. Now I don't know if you can see, it's quite thick, and see all the gluten in there already because it's thick. So that just goes. Now usually I just do it straight into a bowl, but ooh, how much did I say? Well, that's 190. I want a 135. And that's sort of what we got left in there. I'll just grab some more out. for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to take some out. It's really thick and sticky. I don't tend to worry about it like extra, you know, a little bit extra, not gonna really bother me. So it's 1:45, and then now all I'm going to do with this is scrape it down, and yeah, my hands are clean. Took rings off, take jewelry off. Just gonna, and then I'm not going to feed it, which is basically you just put more flour in there. Not going to do that. This will still rise in the fridge. Alright, so I'll pop this away. It's 36 grams. I think I've just not recorded a whole lot of stuff. Oopsie. Alright, I'm just going to leave it at that. Chuck that in. And now I'm going to add some salt, which I've put into this container. $11, $12. Alright, so that's all the measuring over and done with. And now it's mix. I think I'll speed this up. Let's speed this process up. Okay, so I like to have some cold water just in a dish. Now, the humidity will drag more water into this dough, and I'll also be using water, cold water, to help mix. And I don't know why I use this thing. This thing's much better just to mix it through. And yeah, I also got a spray bottle of cold water in the fridge that comes in handy. And now all I'm doing with this is popping it in the cold water, and then just turning the bowl. Do that again. Get all the flour down. So yeah, you are adding more water, but it's just by feel. I keep bumping this top. Alright, so now I'm just going to get in there with my hands quickly. I'm going to wet my hands and then just fold it. Squeeze it. Mix all that salt. The leaven, or the starter, or the yeast as I call it. Mixing that all together. Needs a bit more water. But you don't want to go like too heavy-handed on the water. Now, because it's not a really runny dough, you can knead it, which is what I do. And I just keep it in the bowl to knead. Sorry, I keep bumping you. Come back. I'm trying out this new tripod thing that hooks onto the bench. So I'm just going to scrape all this up, down, stuff up there. and then add it into there. Back into there. And yeah, I don't do stretch and folds or whatever the frick they call them nowadays. Can you imagine the Egyptians doing stretch and folds? No, they just kneaded the crap out of it. And of course they didn't have fridge, but they did have ice boxes, so, but I don't think a baker would, oh, I don't know. But yeah, so one last dip of the hands in the water, rub together, knead, because I really don't want to be touching this dough much, because even though I've used all cold ingredients. Alright, so it's 6 AM, it's already 28 degrees Celsius, and I can already feel this dough warming up, even though I've used cold water, cold flour and cold starter. Oh damn it, I didn't use cold salt. So now I'm just gonna, no, I'm not gonna shape it. I'm just gonna like get it into a ball and then cover it and stick it in the fridge. So yeah, I don't know when I'll get back to it. I'll let you know. I'll probably come back in about an hour. Okay. Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes. So this is where a good sort of spray bottle comes in handy, because you can just like spray your hands. So let's see what's happening with the dough. Now all I'm going for is trying to do get that window pane effect. So I guess I am doing some stretching and folds here. So basically, how can I show this better? I'll spray the counter with some water, and then so you sort of got to stretch it up. It's still tearing a little bit, so it's not quite ready. So I'm just gonna, I don't know what that was. I'm just gonna give it another knead. I'm speeding this up. I don't really need this fast. So a bit more water down. Water my hands. And then just go for it. Now, because the water's on the counter, sort of like slip sliding around. Now, with this knead, I'm going to just keep going until the gluten's developed and I get a window pane effect, which is basically, hang on, where's that dough cutter? So it's basically stretched out. and you get to see it's not quite ready yet. I'm going to be able to stretch it and see some light through it without it tearing. It's torn a bit there, but I think I put my finger through it. Now, while I've got this bit of dough here, I'm just going to cut off a tiny bit, and then it'll come in handy in a minute. So just knead. Now I'm going to use that in a little container, and it's really like stiffening up now. So I think I'll just stick it back in the fridge for, I don't know, 45 minutes, but I'll practice doing these shaping methods. It's not fully stretching out, so it's not ready yet. Yeah, I'd have to do this, but that's not what you want to do on your last shaping. You don't want to degas it or knock it back. So what I'm doing is basically putting my hand under the dough and tucking as I shape it into a ball. You can tell by the top of it, it's not ready. So, and that's the underside where I've tucked. Looks like a mess, but hey. So this is going to go back. This little thing is going to go into a little jar. I haven't done this before, but what I'm going to do is put this in a little jar. Okay, this. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the, and I'm just going to tuck that down in there. Right, flatten it. And then I'm going to use this to see if it helps me with the proofing. So I'll mark it with a rubber band. So it's just some rubber bands. Now these are $4.50 for 100 grams of rubber bands, and I think they're all the same. Okay, so all I've done is twist it around. I could have actually just marked it on here, but I've just done it that way. And that will go wherever the dough goes. So the dough's going back in the fridge. So I'm just going to cover it. And at this stage, I tend to just wet whatever I'm covering it. You can use a shower cap. You can use just anything that will cover it. And then this should really cover it. Should have really like put it in there. So I've just got a little baggy thing. I'm just going to plop that down there. Probably better just pop it down there, and I'll be able to see when that's doubled. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, it's been about an hour, and this is the little, so it's not risen. It's not risen, which is good. And let's see what's happening with the dough. Okay. Oh, I forgot I put some food in. Alright, so this time I want to sort of pull the dough up as much as I can and just fold it over. I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to use the weight of the dough to do this, and also see if we can get that window pane effect, which we're getting sort of here. So I'll just try and stretch it out a bit more, so it just tore a little bit, but it's coming through. It's coming through. Oh, sorry guys, I can't actually see what I'm filming. So it's coming through here, where I'm putting my finger through. So I'm going to do one last knead. I need my water out of the fridge. Now this is filtered, or it's just tap water that I've boiled and left out and then just put in the fridge. So I'm just throwing here, and then I'm just going to, hang on, I'll bring it a bit closer to me. There. Spray my hands. And then I'm just going to knead it. It doesn't need a lot of kneading. You can really tell the difference in the dough now. It's a lot softer. And I don't know if you can see it, but I can feel it. The dough's getting wetter. Just using the heel of my hand. You see sort of how much smoother it is. That's my microwave going off. And so after the kneading, it's sort of not as stretchy as before, but that's okay. I think I've kneaded this enough, and now I'm just going to I'm just rounding it out and trying to make the top of it have a bit of tension on it. And that also helps with gluten development, apparently. And that's the top and the bottom. I've sort of tucked it all in. now I'm just going around and like pulling a bit up and then folding it into the middle. Last one. It's still sticky enough for it to stick to itself. That's the bottom of it. Top, bowl. Now, this time, I'm just going to quickly take this little bit out and just give it a quick knead. So it gets the warmth that that dough just did. Sorry, it gets the warmth that this dough just did by me touching it. Probably could have used a little bit bigger piece, but... And then I'm just going to do that. Stick it back in there. And just gently tap it down. And get the... Because this time I'm going to leave this out on the bench. So I'm going to cover this. I'm just going to spray inside of that. So I'm going to leave this out. I'll spray again the inside of this. And you can't really see through there, but we're going to leave it on the bench. Might just flatten it out a little bit. I'm going to try and use this as a guide. Sort of comes up to here. So that one's to there. That one's to there. Yep. And I'm going to let that, I'm not going to let it double. I'm just going to let it, maybe 2/4. I'll see. Alright, I'll be back. Hey guys. So, I have, this was sitting out for about an hour and a half. And then I put it back in the fridge. And I've fallen asleep. And I just got up. So, here we are. It's come along, like it's risen. So now I'm just going to shape it and wait for it to yeah, so now I'm going to shape it and put it in the fridge to do its major cold retard. Alright, so I'm just going to try and show you what I'm... You can sort of tell when it's ready. Okay, that's better. So yeah, you can see all the... Now, because I put it back in the fridge, because the dough was getting risen and getting quite hot. So now that it's back in the fridge, it's a bit easier to work with. So now I'm just going to shape it. I don't think I'll laminate it, because lamination is when you just stretch it out and then fold it back in on itself. I'll do a little bit, but not much. I don't want to knock out too much of the air. And because it's nice and cold, the dough's nice and cold, it's sort of a lot easier to work with. So I'm just going to pull in the bits, Pull it in again. And then turn it over. And pull, tuck and pull. If you wanted to add additions in, this is the time to do it. Well, like, not when you're shaping it, but you sort of spread it out and then put your whatever you want into it. But I'm just going to leave this loaf plain. I'm just going to check the bottom, and I'll fix that up when. So I'm just trying to make it tight. Make it tight on top. Get a bit of, so it's got a bit of tension on the top. And that's all I'm going to do. Alright, so I'll chuck it in this. Just going to line it. A bit of rice flour. And because it's nice and cold, I can just pick it up. And now I'm just going to fix up the bottom so, whoops. So when it's in the fridge, it doesn't sort of all split apart. I want it to be able to just rise quite nicely without this is the bottom part of it, without that sort of going all funky. And it also gives a final sort of tension building to the bread. And yeah, that's all I'm going to do. Now I'm going to cover it, leave it in the fridge until tomorrow, and we'll bake it. So yeah, the key to, I think, I've run out of rice flour. The key to the hot weather is the fridge and cold ingredients. And I just wanted to show you, so this is the starter. Now I didn't feed it. Remember how I said it still hadn't like peaked and it was still going to rise? It has done that. So I stuck that back in the fridge, so it's still rising. And it smells really good. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow when we bake it. When we bake it. Yeah, I've got to cover it because I don't want it to. Alright. G'day guys. Okay, it's baking day. This has been... Hang on, I'll stop talking while I unwrap. Okay, so this has been in the fridge, I don't know. It's probably about 10:30 a.m. So well over 12 hours. Now, everyone sort of does a poke test, but because I don't really do that with this because the dough's cold, and I've left dough in the fridge for a couple of days, and like this, and it's still worked out. So I'll just get rid of that bug before I turn it out. Alright, so this is that brown baking paper. I haven't used it before. I'll show you the brand that I usually use. Oh. Okay, so the brand that I usually use is just the Coles baking paper. I can't remember how much it costs, so I haven't used this brand before because, what is it? Multix? Greener? Yeah. So we'll see how it... Ooh. So it is a real brown baking paper. talk amongst yourselves while I try and figure out this thingy. Okay, and I just remembered that I bought those loaf pans, but I stupidly have done it in a round shape, and this is just tearing. So yeah, I've done this in a round shape, so it's a bit too late for me to shape it into a loaf. So this fairly big piece, I scrunch it. So yeah, I put the oven on at 220. Yeah, I've scrunched this up, and I'm going to have to use my Dutch oven. And it tends just to sit in there a bit better. Now, at the moment, the oven's, with the Dutch oven, is in the oven. Oh my goodness. So, I preheated, the oven's preheating. And it's at 220 degrees Celsius. The Dutch oven is also in there. So, I'm just going to... These silicone ones are quite good, actually. This is a Temu one. They come out really easily, but the only thing with them is that if you don't put them in something like this, like a hard, they lose their shape. So I was meant to put, yesterday I was meant to shape it into one of these, also from Temu, but again, you have to sit them in something sturdy like, so yeah, you have to sit them in that, otherwise it just spreads out. But yeah, alright, so now I'm just going to score this and decorate it. Now, bakers of yesteryear, this is how they used to identify their loaves. I'm just going to go right around there. Just sort of a deep gash. And I might just on the top here just do like a really, not a large cut, just little dents. So I'm not cutting deep here. This is just for decoration. I keep banging my head on the camera. I mean phone. And then on this side, I'm going to put just a letter M, because these will be going, these go to my kids. So M, and across for a kiss. I'm just playing around. Crosses for kisses, which aren't really working out. But I've still done a leaf design here. Well, let's see how it turns out. Alright. Okay, the oven isn't quite ready, so I've just put it back in this box, in here, and I'm going to put it back in the fridge. Okay, it's just about ready to come out. So I've just got a couple of ice cubes in here. So I'm just trying to smash up, or one smash up, and just to chuck in the Dutch oven to cause some steam. Sorry about that. And I'm just trying to find the closest thing to me to chuck these in. That's a bit big. Nope. Alright, so that's just to create some extra steam. Now, usually I don't put, I'm just going to put the Dutch oven on this. This I also got from the reject shop. But So, but before I do that, just going to finish off this. And I'm just going to dust some flour over it. So, got my flour from this reject shop, and I just use a tea strainer. Nah, crap! I should have. Hang on. First off, I should have really done this. Sprayed it. Okay. And just do this again. Okay. All right. Quite. Alright, this is where I burn myself, guys. And when you know it, the ice just went everywhere. Ice. Alright, let's get this thing out. Try not to burn myself. Yeah, I do this over on the stove usually because this is it's got to be. I try and do it quickly. Where's the? Oh shit! So, oops, that's plopped in there. I'll put a few now. Now I've got to get that back on it. Alright, and straight back into the oven. 30 minutes with the lid on. Whew. Got some ice still in here, I might have that. And yeah, 30 minutes with the lid on and 15 minutes with it off. I wonder if I can get my face on here. No. Okay, so that's in the oven. I'll show you it when it comes out. Oh, I'm shaking like a leaf. Yeah, I'll show it to you when it comes out. But yeah, it is. I've tinkered around with sourdough recipes, but they're all usually for like a cooler climate, the UK or the US, and there was many flops. I did enjoy making this new starter, which I will now add to my original starter. If you would like me to show you how I did that, then just say, yeah, show me. It's not hard, it's just a matter of, I know it feels hard because you probably watched 1,000 or 100 sourdough videos, and so, you know, it just gets so confusing. And when I realized, just go back to the basics. People, you know, Egyptians didn't have timers and temperatures and all that jazz. They didn't have, so I just made it simple. I even got sick for a couple of days, well, 4 days, and didn't even touch it. So I don't do discarding and all that jazz. It's a waste of flour. Yeah, and it worked. So I'll put the recipe in the description, and you can follow along with this video. Hopefully I've made it comprehensive enough so you can sort of see what the dough looks like. But if you're in a hot, humid climate, less water is more, if you get my drift. And I'll say my tatas now, and I want to thank Kim from Pink Squirrel Studios. Sorry, darling, I haven't been doing the DTHaulersChallenge in the last couple of months because there was Christmas and I've just been overrun with stuff that's been happening at home. So I'll be trying to keep that up from now. And this is the February one. And did I introduce myself? My name's Jodie. My channel is called Jodie Elsa's Pet. Okay, so next time you see my hands, and my goodness, no nail polish is staying on. But that's a different story. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. When I get the bread out, I'll show you, but I don't cut it. I don't cut it because it's still cooking, so I try and leave it as long as I can. My youngest son isn't home at the moment, so it might get away with like actually cooling down. But I think the video will just be too long, guys, if I cut it. But yeah. All right. I'll say my goodbyes now. Thank you so much. And yeah, it was scary to begin with baking sourdough. Scared of bread. I was actually scared of bread. Okay, I'll see you when I show you this. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes. And I'll take the top off and then put it back in for 15. So this is what it looks like after 30 minutes covered. And it's going back in for another 15 without the lid on. Okay guys, this is the finished product. It's just come out. It's still quite hot. I just put it on this cooling rack. This paper actually held up quite well. And there was no problems with it coming off. So yeah, I will use that again. Okay, how can I do this without burning myself? I don't think I can. Alright, so now I have to put these mittens on. So, alright, so that's where I put the M down there. Ooh, it's hot. So I have to work on that. And this was, ooh, it's just, so that's where I did the deep slit. And this is where I did what I thought was a tiny, not deep at all, but it's still come out. And it's meant to be like a stalk of wheat. Now, I just want to have a look at the bottom. It's on the bottom. Yep, I'm happy with that. And I didn't do any ads, like I didn't do any sesame seeds on this one because, well, they didn't have sesame seeds in the reject shop. But, you know, you can decorate it however you want. You can see around the edges here where that proofing basket was. And that's a nice loaf. And it will be eaten. So, if you are scared of bread, like I certainly was, like I made bread, I've been making bread over the years for ages, and I've made sourdough bread, like when the kids were younger, but they didn't like it, so I sort of gave up on it. But now my eldest son pays $10 for a sourdough loaf, and that's why I thought, right, I'll get back into making sourdough. Because he'll eat it. And my youngest here eats it. And I eat it. And yeah. Plenty of things you can do. But that's it. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I'm just going to do a wave here. I hope this has helped you in some way. If you're in a hot climate, Australia, Asia, Thailand, there's just that water. Okay, alright, so thank you to Kim at Pink Squirrel Studios for keeping on with the DT Haulers Challenge and inviting me into it, even though we only have one Dollar Tree here and it like sucks. But our reject shop is pretty much, ouch, it's hot, still hot. So I'm going to let this cool. I'll put in here, my son, he will probably taste it first, and he'll either say, yeah, I'll let you know what he says. So thank you, Kim. Sorry I haven't done them in the last couple of months. Things have been happening, but yeah. And thank you all for watching this lump of bread. And now I've got to try it. Now I'll take probably all day to put all the editing together, so it's not too long and boring. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I don't know, most people go on about these ears. I don't give a rat's about an ear. I just like how in the, in Egyptian times, they were making this bread, and, well, bakers would score their bread different ways to identify their bread. And so customers could identify their bread. So I'm not even sure if scoring is really necessary. But yeah. Okay. I'm just looking at it now. I'll have to take a photo for the thumbnail. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope if just one person out there has sort of learnt anything, then great. Not learnt as in you don't know anything, but if you're following sourdough stuff online, it's really hard, like, it's for cooler climates, and when you're in a hot, humid climate, like, what are we up to? Oh yeah, 30 degrees at the moment, and 75% humidity. So, yeah. Alright, I'll sign off. Thank you for watching.